Hey everyone, I'm sitting out here with my friend Buddy. Say hi, Buddy. Say hi. He's hanging out on the deck here. It's his favorite spot. This is my new array that I built this spring, and I've done a little work out here. Check it out. Got a nice little deck. You can sit up there, put your food up there, hang out. Got all the nice comforts of home out here. Home for the plants too. Check out the garden's doing really good with the basil and oregano. Got some zucchini. And here's the brand new array that I just built from the satellite dish. Doesn't that look nice? And it just tracks so well from left to right as the sun goes by. As you can see, the sun is up there. It's still early in the morning, just about afternoon. And the new array came out really nice. Here's the battery box. This is what the Renogy here. It's a brand new Renogy panel I just purchased. They're about $74 for 50 watts. It's a very high quality panel. I like it. And as you can see, the panels are moving on their own. They do track nicely too. I've used the shadow, put a piece of paper on the panel and use a paint cap, the round paint cap off of a spray can, and you can see if you have a shadow. Let me tell you, I was surprised myself that I hardly had to do any adjusting, but it's working perfectly with no shadows all day long. So especially around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there is absolutely no shadows. It's still early. 2 o'clock is about my maximum power that's coming in. But right now, yeah, everything's working good. As you can see, here's my little shadow test here. This is too early, but it's not able to turn that far, so it's kind of on an angle right now. But yeah, usually around noon to 1 o'clock, there won't be a shadow at all until the sun goes down. But it works great. So far I can't complain about anything because it is working, and it worked as soon as I hooked it up. Tracking and everything, and all I did was do a little timing adjustment so that it's not trying to track continuously. It waits a little bit longer, about 5 minutes in between each tracking. Yeah, so I just keep the cardboard right here underneath, so whenever I do want to check it, it's right there for me to put on there and see if there's a shadow. But yeah, the only thing I still have to do out here is just attach these wires to the cement, clean that up a little bit. But for right now, everything's working. It's working well. Garden's going great. No complaints here. Buddy loves it out here. Loves to hang out with us. Come out here, grab a drink out of the solar cooler, and boom. We're off for another beautiful day out here. It's so quiet and peaceful, and all you hear is the birds. We have a lot of animals out here. The deer come right up through here. They hang out right in the woods over there. There's a pathway that the deer follow. They like it in this yard because we have an apple tree, so they love to come out and hang out with us. Right, bud buds? Right, bud buds? We love our animals here. Yeah. And we love our solar, of course. That's why we're always continually building onto it. So far, I think everything's coming out really good. I've already met most of my goals. And the next goal is to get this. This is all, these two arrays out here are wired together, and then the PVC comes over along the edge of the dock here, and then comes underground right here to the combiner box. I got this little solar light here so you can see the steps when you're walking out here at night. I do want to give you guys a night video too, so you can see how nice it looks at night with all the solar lights lit up. It's pretty awesome. I definitely need a better camera to show you that. Maybe today I'll reset my phone because the outside camera isn't working properly, so right now I'm using the selfie cam to do this video. But what I'm gonna do is just come along right here with the trench, and then all the way back up to the garage. Here's the first array I built last year. Everything's working great, no problems. Got this brand new Renogy, just like the one over there, that's charging up the battery. Also, I don't know if you noticed, I did this cement slab under here, which makes everything a lot cleaner and neater. I don't have to worry about weeds. I can put stuff out here if I want. I got a bunch of planters with a wildflower mixture in there just coming up. And here, oh, what's this? We have a grasshopper here. I think he's checking to make sure the tracking system's working well. But as you see here, I have 4 different wires coming in. This is a minus and this is plus. From each 2 panels has 1 wire. So we're talking about 10 amps, a little over 10 amps on each wire, which is good for that. And then the combiner goes to a 6 gauge wire, which goes underground and then comes up through the PVC right here up to my cutoff switch. And here's the new cutoff switch where I have the extension cord temporarily plugged into the cutoff switch. So now I have 2 arrays. Let's go in and see what's going on in here, the power wall. As you can see, the batteries aren't charging right now. We're at 13.1, and here's what's coming in. The top one is the arrays out back further there, and the 27 amps there, that's the one close to the garage here. It's 8 panels on this array close to the garage, and I got 4 and 4, 2 separate arrays out back further. Hopefully I've got the 6 gauge wire, and hopefully I can get that power coming in a little bit stronger than it is now. The wire that is hooked up to it is only a 12 gauge wire, so right now we're getting almost 10 amps in, but that's also take about 2 amps away for the cooler that's hooked up to it. But what's really awesome about how this is working with the cooler attached is that it's not affecting the MPPT. So you are able to take some power away and use it in other ways, and it doesn't affect the MPPT. So I'm pretty happy with the cooler idea. That worked out. And here's the grid ties. I have 2 grid ties. Basically the whole house is covered now. Instead of only one leg of the electrical box, now both legs are grid tied. And here you can see, possibly, I have the 2 grid ties plugged into these watt meters. I'm getting 1.22 amps on the further away arrays, 1.22 amps of 115. And on the close one here I have 3.33 amps, and that's with 30 amps coming in on the close one. So every 10 amps of 12 volt is giving me about an amp of 115. So when these solar panels are getting full sun, I should have about 5 amps, 4.5 to 5 amps on each leg. So I'm putting almost 10 amps of 115 into the house to be used as the day goes on. Now the only time I ever don't use the grid ties is when there's a power failure. Then I just switch over to the Renogy. They charge the batteries and will power the house with the brand new reliable inverters I got. These are hooked directly into the box, and you just hit a breaker to, once you turn the main off, you hit the breaker to turn those on, and boom, you have power. And what's so nice about these reliable inverters is that they are neutral and ground tied. The ground and neutral are tied together, which means it works perfect with our USA system where the neutral and ground are tied together. So thank you, Reliable, for doing that. As you can see here, I have these big copper lugs with 2 gauge wire. The 2 gauge wire goes right to my battery bank. My battery bank is in this box here, and I got 5 100 amp hour sealed lead acid batteries, and these are all my chargers. So whenever I'm using my weed whacker, lawnmower, or any of my drills or whatever, I can charge them up right off of the grid tie. They're connected basically right to the electrical box here. These grid ties are wired directly to a breaker. Number 3 is the grid tie. So there's 1 grid tie on this pole and 1 grid tie on this pole. This breaker here is for the inverters. If I flip that over, then we'll have power going in from the inverters. And then this one is the generator. If I need to hook the generator up to power the house, then I just flip that breaker over. This is the main. That of course will be on when you're powering up the entire house. But this is what the main that comes from the main box outside of the garage here. So basically you would have to shut the main off of the power coming in, and then you can turn this main on to connect to the rest of the house. Yeah, so everything's working out great. And I even got a smaller Cobra inverter, 1500 watts. It's all tested out and working great. No complaints here on the Cobra. They work really well. Even though they're in a plastic case, they cool very well with the fans that they come with. Then this right here is just a timer switch that I use for the fan here. This little fan I have blowing on the grid ties gives it extra cooling, but the fans on internally work just fine, but they don't really come on that much because this fan is always on. But when they do come on, you know we're pumping some serious power. And I've seen this array over 40 amps many a times. So 40 amps going into a 1000 watt grid tie is about 5 amps of 115 power. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you can run an air conditioner for free during the day when the sun is out. Thanks for checking out the video. Like, subscribe, and share the videos. More to be coming soon because I'm always out in the garage here working on stuff. Today I have a little job before I have to go to work to do, which is going to be putting a little dielectric grease right on the battery cables so they don't corrode. But what you want to do when you're doing something like taking the battery cables off is you want to disconnect your charge controllers, which all I have to do is hit the switch here, and that will disconnect the power to the Renogy's, and then I can disconnect the battery. You don't want to have power coming in to your charge controller when you disconnect the battery. So make sure that the arrays are disconnected, and then you can disconnect the battery. Alright, that's enough for now. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, share this video. Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Bye.